Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Final Trade. So I met with the realtor yesterday. We went by and looked at one of the properties that we're thinking about and met with the landlord and looked inside and talked with them for quite a while. And it's in a very, very good location. It's probably the best of the properties left on the list, but it's maybe not the one I think I want the most. It's best in terms of the location on the main thoroughfare in downtown Arlington, in between a bunch of restaurants. And on one side is a tattoo parlor, and on the other side is a salon, a whole bunch of impulsive type things that college students love. And you want to be right there to get those young students to come in and spend their student loan money on Pokemon cards. So it's a very good spot. It's an old building, but everything in downtown Arlington is old. It's looks like it's been kept up decently well. And, it definitely needs some paint and a good thorough scrubbing, but it'll probably be fine after that. Now, it's a weird shape. It's 12 feet wide by 70 feet deep, which may not work for some businesses, but a card store where you just need a bunch of rows of tables for people to play at, and then you need some display area, some shelving, and that's basically it for your showroom. Yeah, it can work for that. So, I probably would not be able to do much storage there, and that's probably okay in the long run because leasing expensive commercial space to store your products and keep inventory is not the best idea. You could probably keep enough inventory day to day if behind the counter and then just bring more from your actual storage area each day or send somebody to go pick it up and bring it over when it's needed. So we're still trying to get access to another property to go look at it, but it was a good outing, and it looks like a promising place. The rent is very reasonable. The utilities are, we thought they were going to be pretty reasonable, and then the landlord sent us some utility records, and yeah, it's a bit more expensive than he was remembering, but probably not so terrible. Certainly not a deal breaker. So especially with the way the patron program has gone and other deals that I have set up with businesses to provide products and services on an ongoing basis that gives me kind of a backstop of semi-reliable income in the business outside of simply selling cards. So, that's really nice because then I can basically just push that money towards the location and be able to open it without a huge new drain on cash on the business that the business can't handle. And hopefully, once I would be in a store and the opportunities that would open up would allow me to expand the business quite a lot. So I'll keep y'all up to date on those kind of things as we keep going forward with the realtor. But yeah, we're probably still weeks out from any type of decision, any type of real dramatic change in how things are going to be run around here. So, um, I got into a discussion with a patron this morning about allocation of floor space and how do you handle products that are maybe lower value, lower return on investment, commodity products, things that people aren't going to get a dopamine hit from opening immediately, like booster packs, and instead would be more willing to order from Amazon or eBay, where the margins from the huge sellers are razor thin. They'd be a little happier to save the money and maybe get it tomorrow or the next day or the next day. I'm thinking of things like supplies, like sleeves and top loaders and nine pocket pages and binders and deck boxes and those kind of commodity items that nobody gets a rush out of opening. Nobody's going to want to go buy one additional booster pack just for another chance to get some big hit, something like that. And, how do you allocate space in the store, square footage that has a monthly expense associated with it, if you can't turn the sales from that square footage into more profit than it costs you to rent it? And I'm not sure that there's a real clean answer to this problem because, to a great degree, you have this problem of kind of symbiosis between the products. You don't want to be a store that only sells old Pokemon and collector packs because those are the best return on investment. Not many people would want to come to your store very often. They'd probably want to go to that store that's 8 miles from campus, but has a bunch of games and a bunch of different products within each game and a bunch of different modern and older expansions of those games, and has a healthy selection of all the constellation of related items and products that go with TCGs, board games, and wargaming, and whatever else the store is into. So you definitely need to devote space to those kind of additional products, even if they aren't as good. But how much? And to what degree do you worry about it cannibalizing the sales of the more profitable items? And I know on some of these things, uh, it's not really cannibalizing. So say that somebody comes in and they sit at your store and they play games for a few hours and they buy some packs or whatever. And then they get hungry. Well, if you've got a vending machine and they can buy some candy bars and chips and sodas, well, then they don't go down the street and eat at the sandwich shop. Okay, they stay in your store longer. Well, that's good. You've captured that allowance of food spending they otherwise would have done somewhere else. But maybe you've also kept them in the store another couple hours, and maybe they decide that they're going to buy some more booster packs, whatever the hell, you know? So that can work out if you're really diversifying into something that scratches a different itch for the customer. I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about these kind of questions, and I'm not sure that there are real good models you can create to answer them. I think the answers may be that you get into a location, you open the business, and then you start seeing what your customers need. We have this joke in engineering that your engineers know where your program's risks are. You have to go ask them. And I think it may be the same way here. It's like your customers will know what they want and what they're willing to spend money on. You have to talk with them, you have to ask them, and then you have to try to provide it. And being aware that some customers are tire kickers who will talk about what they want and then not purchase it. But that's just the reality of life. So thinking a lot about that. One of the parts of the discussion I had with my patron was how do you allocate floor space? And I thought, well, I'm already planning that because I think slat wall looks like ass. I just don't like slat wall for retail stores. I'm just going to have big bookshelves. And, the nice ones are designed to support heavy stacks of dense paper, which is what cards are. So you can definitely get ones that are strong enough. You can put another sheet of plywood on the back and screw through that into the shelves to keep them from sagging. And so I was going to have that. And when you do it that way, say you have a bookshelf that's 6 feet wide, a foot and a half deep, well, that's 9 square feet on your floor, and you may get 36 linear feet of display space out of that. So it's a lot different than having something like, saying, a freestanding display in the middle of the store that is devoted to low margin items, low return on investment items. So maybe that's part of the way to deal with it, is just having a more dense area of storage. Because the example that my patron sent me was a video by a gentleman opening a store somewhere, and yeah, he had huge area out in the center of the store devoted to those kind of low ROI items. And it struck me immediately as, man, that's a lot of expensive square footage to be putting card sleeves in that probably on no single monthly basis will ever turn enough product to pay for the square footage that they're sitting on. I don't know. Maybe this is a lot of the kind of thing that you think of when you're bored, when you're antsy, when you're waiting for things to move faster, and when stuff actually starts moving and we get into the store, it'll just never cross my mind again. So I'm not even sure. But I like sharing those kind of things with you guys because I usually get interesting feedback in the comments here and more follow up questions about it on Patreon. So yeah, we had Sealed Sale 24 last night, the Phyrexia collector boxes that sold very well. It is just about sold out. There is barely anything left. I'm sorry for the folks who wanted to get a second box and were on the waiting list. Sorry, a second case and we're on the waiting list. We are going to sell out before we get around to any second cases. So apologies for that, but If you ordered before noon today, your box is already at the post office. And the rest of them, the ones that are afternoon, they will go out tomorrow. So Thursday, we're going to have sealed sale number 25. I know I had said Lost Caverns of Ixalan bundles. I think I'm probably not going to do those. I was trying to work out the economics of them, and I'm going to go back and see if I can get a better deal for them. But we're probably going to switch it to Modern Horizons 2 pre release pack cases. Yeah, go look at how many of those are still in the world. I looked on eBay, and I think there were like two listings. TCG Player never even supported it as its own product, a sealed case of the pre release packs. So we're probably going to have those. I'm still working on the finer details of it, so stand by. Otherwise, I have another video I'm going to record here in a little bit. There's been some interesting box price movement, and we might be able to read way too deeply into it. So join me for that one in another hour or so. Let me know what you think, guys. Am I on to anything, or is it just the insane ramblings of somebody who needs something to do? Thanks to everyone who makes this content possible, especially my very generous supporters on Patreon. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and join me on Final Trade.